May 29, 1453. The greatest city in the world is dying. For over 1,100 years, its walls held back the tide. It was the queen of cities, the heart of the Roman Empire, the center of the Christian world. But today, Constantinople falls. Leading the charge is a 21-year-old sultan, a strategic genius obsessed with history, a man who sees himself as the new Alexander, the new Caesar. His name is Mehmed the Conqueror. Trapped inside the palace is a 15-year-old princess, Theodora Poliolina. She has lost her city, her empire, and her future, all in a single morning. She is now the property of the conqueror. What happened next is not what you think. Standard practice was simple. The royal family of a conquered enemy was executed, enslaved, or absorbed into the victor's harem. But Sultan Mehmed's decision in the next 72 hours would defy all expectations and reveal a masterful political plan that would reshape history. What did Sultan Mehmed II really do to Princess Theodora? The answer isn't just a story of mercy, it's a story of genius. To understand that day, you have to understand the desperation. By 1453, the Roman Empire was a ghost. It was just one city, a magnificent, crumbling museum. Emperor Constantine XI ruled over a population of perhaps 50,000 people, protected by the legendary Theodosian walls. But those walls, built for arrows and catapults, were now facing a terrifying new technology, the supercannon. Mehmed had commissioned a Hungarian engineer named Orban to build a bronze monster 27 feet long, firing 1,200-pound stone balls. It was the death knell of medieval warfare. Inside this besieged world lived Princess Theodora. She wasn't just royalty, she was a product of 1,000 years of culture. Educated in Greek classics, fluent in Latin, she was a living link to the ancient world. Her life was meant for a diplomatic marriage, for courtly arts, for a future that had just evaporated in gunpowder smoke. And on the other side of the walls, the boy Sultan. Mehmed II had first taken the throne at age 12, was briefly overthrown, and now, at 21, was back with something to prove. European courts mocked him. His own elite troops, the Janissaries, had doubted him. But Mehmed was different. He was a Renaissance prince in Ottoman clothing. He spoke 6 languages, including Turkish, Arabic, Persian, Greek, and Latin. He slept with a copy of Alexander the Great's campaigns under his pillow. He wasn't just conquering a city, he was fulfilling a prophecy. But more than that, he was making a claim. He didn't just want to be a sultan, he wanted to be the new Roman emperor. And he knew to be a Caesar, you had to possess Caesar's city. On May 28th, the day before the final assault, Mehmed made an unprecedented offer. He sent an envoy to Emperor Constantine. Surrender now, and the emperor and all his people could leave safely with their possessions. No blood would be spilled. Constantine's reply became legendary. To surrender the city is beyond my authority or anyone else's who lives in it. For all of us have decided to die of our own free will. That night, the city prepared for death. In the great cathedral, the Hagia Sophia, an eerie unity took hold. For the first time, Orthodox and Catholic Christians, long divided by a bitter schism, took communion together. They knew this was the end. In the palace, Theodora's mother made a last desperate gamble. She disguised the 15-year-old princess as a common kitchen servant. She cut her hair, stained her hands, and dressed her in rags. If the palace fell, noblewomen would be claimed as prizes for the sultan's harem or his top commanders. A servant might just be overlooked. At 1 a.m. on May 29th, the final assault began. After hours of brutal fighting, a small postern gate, the Kirkaporta, was found unlocked. Ottoman soldiers poured in, raised their banner on the inner wall, and the cry went up, "The city is taken." Emperor Constantine tore off his purple imperial robes and led his last remaining men in a final charge. He died as the last Roman emperor, a soldier among his men. His body was never definitively identified. What followed was the nightmare the city had feared for 1100 years. Islamic law was clear. A city taken by force could be pillaged for 3 days. It was a brutal but effective incentive for the soldiers. The Hagia Sophia became a trap. Thousands who had sought sanctuary were dragged out. Men were killed, women and children rounded up. Historians estimate between 30,000 and 50,000 people were enslaved in a single day. The city that was the light of the world was being extinguished. And in the palace, Theodora, disguised as a servant, huddled in a storage room, pressing herself behind jars of olive oil, listening to the screams as the world she knew was torn apart, room by room. Then at noon, the Sultan himself entered the city. He rode directly to the Hagia Sophia. He dismounted, and in a famous gesture of humility before his God, he picked up a handful of dirt and poured it over his turban. He walked into the magnificent building. He ordered the looting to stop, the mosaics to be covered, not destroyed. An imam was summoned, and from the pulpit, the call to prayer echoed through the ancient Christian cathedral. It was now a mosque, Hagia Sophia. But then Mehmet did something that shocked his own army. The law allowed 3 days of pillage. After only 1 day, Mehmet ordered it to stop immediately. Soldiers grumbled, but they obeyed. This wasn't just a sack, this was an occupation. Mehmet the Conqueror was already becoming Mehmet the Ruler. His Grand Vizier began compiling lists of captured nobility. In the palace, soldiers rounding up the last survivors found a terrified girl hiding in the servants' quarters. The disguise had failed. Despite the soot and the coarse wool, her refined speech and terror-filled eyes gave her away. She was Princess Theodora, and she was brought before the 21-year-old Sultan. Imagine the scene. The 15-year-old girl, her entire world destroyed, stands before the man responsible. He sits on a portable throne wearing a silk kaftan, the conqueror of the world. Ottoman commanders expected the protocol. She would be added to the Sultan's harem, a human trophy. The captured Byzantine attendants expected her immediate execution. She was the last of the old line, a potential symbol for future rebellion. Mehmet studied her for a long moment. His translator asked her name. She gave it in a whisper. Then the Sultan spoke in fluent Greek. "You are of the Paleologos line." "I am." "Where is your father?" "Dead in the siege." The tension in the throne room was suffocating. This was the moment, the end of her life or the beginning of her slavery. And then the unthinkable happened. Sultan Mehmed II ordered Princess Theodora released. Not just released, not enslaved, not sent to his harem. He declared her a free woman to be held under state protection. He assigned her a stipend, a state-funded pension. He gave her a residence in the city and granted her full permission to practice her Christian faith openly. This isn't legend. Ottoman palace records, examined by historians in the 21st century, confirm it. They list Princess Theodora's name among the protected persons and record the stipend payments made to her between 1453 and 1456. Why? Why would a conqueror do this? It wasn't kindness, it was strategy. Mehmet's mercy was a calculated act of political genius. Remember, Mehmet didn't want to be just a barbarian conqueror. He wanted to be Kaiser-i-Rûm, the Caesar of Rome,
And to be a legitimate Roman emperor, you couldn't just annihilate the entire Roman nobility. You needed continuity. By showing magnanimity, a classic Roman virtue, he was proving he was a worthy successor. By protecting Christians, he was positioning himself as a ruler of all his subjects, not just Muslims. He immediately appointed a new Orthodox Christian patriarch, giving him civil authority over all Orthodox people in the new empire. He wasn't ending Byzantium. He was transforming it. He was absorbing it. Princess Theodora, alive and free, was more valuable to him than she could ever have been as a slave or a corpse. She was living proof of his legitimacy. Princess Theodora lived under the Sultan's protection in the transforming city for 3 years. She watched mosques rise alongside churches and Greek scholars enter Ottoman service. In 1456, she was permitted to leave for the Peloponnese in Greece.
If you love history, legends, and great mysteries, hit that subscribe button and join our journey into the past.